Let us apply the strategy learned to factor these two trinomials. So they are of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to 0. The very first one is 5x squared minus 11x plus 2. A is 5, b is minus 11, and c is 2. So we are looking for two numbers whose product is 5 times 2 in this case, and whose sum is minus 11. Now in the next one, we have 2m squared minus 9x minus 10. Here we are looking for two numbers whose product is minus 20, 2 times minus 10, and whose sum is minus 9. So you can pause the video, solve it yourself, and then look into my solution. Here is how I will do it. So let me start with this part C, which is we are looking for two numbers, p times q, whose product should be equals to 5 times 2, which is 10, positive 10. And when you add them, when you add p and q, you should get minus 11. So when you add, you get negative, and when you multiply, you get positive. That means both the numbers are of same sign and both are negative. So they should be minus 10 and minus 1. So when you multiply minus 10 with minus 1, you get positive 10, and the sum is minus 11. So now we can write this expression as 5x squared minus 10x minus x plus 2. So when you say 11x is written as minus 10x minus x, when you add, you get the same thing. So they are equal, right? Now next step, we'll factor what is common between the first two terms and what is common between the next two terms. So we get 5x as common between first two terms. We can factor out 5x, and we are left with x minus 2, right? And from the next term, we should factor out minus 1, right? It's good to keep coefficient of x positive. So this minus sign is sufficient. There's no need to write 1 here. We get x minus 2 here. If you open the bracket, you do get minus x plus 2, right? Now, x minus 2 is a common factor. So x minus 2 is a common factor between these two terms, and we get 5x from the first term and minus 1 from the second. So now we have a factored form of 5x squared minus 11x plus 2, and it can be written as x minus 2 times 5x minus 1. So that has been factored. Now the next one is 2m squared minus 9x minus 10. Now here we are looking for two numbers whose product is minus 10 times 2, that is minus 20, and whose sum is minus 9. So product of minus 20 means one number is negative, the other one is positive. The higher number is negative since their sum is negative, correct? So the two numbers could be 4 and 5, 10 and 2. So look for different combinations which could give you negative as the product and negative 9 as the sum. So let's look into all the factors of 20. If I do 1 times 20, then their sum will be 19, right? We're considering different sign. 2 times 10, their sum will be 8 but not 9. And then we can say 4 times 5. Now 4 and 5 have to be of opposite signs. They will not give us this combination. Now what is left? 20 times 1, that will also not give us this combination. And therefore we can conclude that in this particular case, since we do not have any combination which can satisfy this, it cannot be factored. So this cannot be factored, right? So it is not necessary that you can factor each and every trinomial, but it is necessary that to factor it, you should have combination as we are discussing in this set of videos, right? So we need product which should give you, we need two numbers whose product should give us the product of a and c, the leading coefficient and the constant term, and the sum should be equal to b, the leading coefficient, the coefficient of x If we don't get any combination which can satisfy this condition, then we cannot factor. Example is just before you, right? So it's kind of important to understand this, that all trinomials cannot be factored. Thank you and all the best.